Hello, guys. How are y'all doing? I wanted to come on for a minute in this beautiful, sunshiny, cold day. And it's a little windy, so I hope I'm not too distorted in my voice here. I hope y'all can hear me okay. I wanted to chat a little bit on this break about Sebastian Drake Rogers. You know, the 15-year-old at the time of his vanishing out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, Stafford Court area. He vanished on was last seen on February 25th, 2024. And that has been confirmed now by FBI, everybody pretty much, that he did vanish last seen on the 25th of February, 2024. His birthday was December 7th, he turned 16. And his favorite color is green. He loves to play games like, Minecraft and video games, right? He's a little gamer. He's not one to play outside. He's not one to do any of these things. With his bio dad, Seth Rogers, yes, he's allowed to play outside, go fishing and do these things, but at the other home, no. As far as we know, he was not outside according to their words, right? Allegedly, that's their words. That's what they said. So we have to go by. This young child has autism. He's on the spectrum. He's had a pretty rough little life. He was essayed at the age of around 8, under the watch of the stepfather and the mother. And so we do know that happened in California when he was younger. But like I said, he captured America's hearts, and we want to know what happened to this young man. We really do. And we want justice to be done for this young man. And it should be. Does it seem to be going down the road of Summer Wells? Kinda. But I'm praying that it's not going to. But one thing I do look at is, one thing I do look at is that the night that Sebastian Drake Rogers, the last day that he was seen, now around 3 a.m. that morning, roughly, give or take, a video picked up some flashlights moving in the area. It appears to be one looked like a lookout, one looked like they were coming out to the vehicle for some reason. We were told that he left with a flashlight and he left barefooted. So that's kind of the only thing I think they really got. I think they might have a few other things. I know they have their theories. They've said they had their theories, but they have no proof to back up their theories. So as of now, it's just really wishy-washy on what's going on. So we kind of have to speculate, right? That's what we do. And dig for the truth. Dig for the truth in any way possible. No, sit down. And so one thing I did want to clearly say was, except for Ruby's acting up right now, is that I went back. Remember, allegedly, these are my opinions. Yeah, let me get that out the way first, I guess. And these are just my thoughts and my theories and my speculation and my free speech, which I'm entitled to. The disclaimer is basically, I'm just a big alleged bubble. So do your own research, right? That's what I say. Just like all of us, we all do our own research. And these are clearly, allegedly, my opinions. Now, what was said on this Web Sleuth interview with Chris Proudfoot, Seth Rogers was on there, and one of the PIs was on there as well. One of Seth's PIs. And this was something that was done a long time ago. And it was a squashing rumor type thing, I think, is what they were trying to do. This is the one when Seth asked him about the rumor of his parents, Christopher's parents being involved, the Bowerstocks being involved, and that they had Sebastian. And he's, of course, he's like, well, you have my mother's number, call her. But you have to look at it from both sides of that, right? Do you think that these Bowerstocks would be honest of how they did Nina? No, I don't think anybody believes that. I think that whole family is just a big ball of lies. I really do feel that way, in my opinion. Allegedly. I don't think he tells the truth. I think he has a bad problem. I don't think he knows what the truth is. And I think he's lied his whole life, and that's why he's been married 5 times. That's why his life is nothing but a big ball of lies to us, to most people. The majority of the public, right, is pretty much saying this man doesn't tell the truth. And he's been caught in so many lies, right, that's really why we look at it this way, with CPS involved and all these other things involved. The way he talked about this child in the beginning with his diapers and this, that, and the other, and just the hateful things, the remarks. He called this child a liar. He's done so much to be supposedly someone that loves our stepson. He sure does talk bad about him. But when you really down deep think about this, I'm going to bounce around a little bit, but when you talk that badly about someone that you're supposed to love, that's been a part of your life for 7, 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is, do you expect us to believe that this child is possibly alive the way you're talking? And then for another thing is, why would you talk about someone that can't defend herself? Right? Sebastian can't defend himself. So you're going to say all these hateful and mean and evil things about this child that has autism, that's on the spectrum. And not only are you going to say it, the mother of this child is going to allow you to say it. But she's no better off. She's had 2 abortions. She's had Sebastian, and for 15 years raised this child, and now she doesn't have him either. So she really, out of 3 children, has none. I've said that before. I'll say it again. It's true. And it's. I mean, if what's the father says about her having abortions is true, then it's true, right? Allegedly, to me, it's allegedly, but to him, he's saying it's a fact. She's never come out and debunked it, so I don't know. But we do know that the way they treated this child is not how you treat a child, especially not with autism, which I've always thought the arrest should have been made a long time ago for the way they treated this child. Tennessee, it's a felony, which I don't know why there's not petitions going around to lock him up for that, which I think somebody needs to start a petition to lock Chris up for child abuse. I really do. You cannot strike a child with you cannot strike a child with some sort of a belt or anything when they have autism. You just can't do that. And so you're the one that got your leash tangled up, girl. She got her leash all wrapped around me. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Stop. But anyway, one thing I really wanted to get to, but Ruby won't let me, is the fact that a comment that he made on Web Sleuth when asked what he thought happened to Sebastian or what made Sebastian disappear. He clearly stated, 1, let me get to that point, all doors are locked with a key other than the front door. So this is a very important thing to me, is that all doors have to have a key to get out of, but the front door that has a keypad, okay? So he clearly states for a fact, he says, he knows this for a fact, he says. Clearly he said, Christopher Proudfoot said, I know this to be true. He walked out that front door, stepped off that front porch, and vanished in thin air. And the rest is history, or however he said it. And ask again, how do you know this? He tried to backtrack a little bit about the poof into thin air thing, but he didn't backtrack the other. He said, let me make it crystal clear. The house was locked that morning. All the doors were locked that morning. So that's telling me that, as we know, Katie controls the key to those doors. So not Sebastian. So in a way, that's a security measure to keep him, I guess, from getting out anywhere other than the front door. Maybe there's a reason they don't want him in the backyard. I don't know, but we know now that those are key locks only, which means deadbolt, that you lock from the inside with the key, and you unlock from the inside with the key. He clearly stated, crystal clear, Mr. Proudfoot said, he walked out that front door with no shoes on, stepped off that front porch, and vanished in thin air. Okay, so this is what he's saying. Okay, well then let's clarify something then on that. Let's try to make something else crystal clear. Okay, we know that the flashlight video that surfaced clearly showed activity to around the backyard, which means the back door. So what you're telling us right then and there is that that was Katie that went out that back door, because she's the only one that controls the key to that back door. So thank you for that information. At least you clarified that Tinkerbell Live video was clearly Katie going out the back door with the key. At least we know now Sebastian didn't go out the back door. At least not on his own. So that's one thing I wanted to touch base on, because that really, if you down deep think about that, considering he stated it as 100% fact, right? That the doors were all locked, then that tells me that Katie's the one that unlocked that back door and went out with her little flashlight that she said was Sebastian with a flashlight. But I still do believe that was all part of their little stunt to throw people off, to make them think that vehicle was clearly how Sebastian left. I think they needed that plan, right? I think they needed that to try to show some proof to what they're saying, because they clearly said this child wasn't a runner. He wasn't a loper. He never ran away before. And clearly they stuck with that front door image for so long, right? Even Katie, I don't know why he walked out that front door. Chris saying he walked out the front door. So ask Chris, because he's saying he knows he walked out the front door. So ask him why Sebastian walked out the front door, Katie. That child didn't walk out that front door. Those 18 dogs would have sniffed him. They didn't even follow his scent to the trash can that supposedly was done in 8 p.m. that night. Make that make sense. They got the scent in the house and followed his scent all over the house, but nothing outside, nothing on that front porch at all. So, but I can guarantee you, in my opinion only, of course, if they would have had Katie's scent and checked her scent out that backyard, that would have been her scent. I can almost bet money on it that would have been her scent that went out that door. But they didn't treat it that way in the beginning. They treated it as a runaway, because I think when they got that clip, I think law enforcement did think he got in the car and left. And then until they were able to determine that he didn't go to that car and leave, that's when it really became, there's no proof that this child walked out of that home, which there's not. And if law enforcement says there's no proof that this child walked out of that home, that means there's no proof that he walked out of that home. And of course, they've tried to say, well, dogs smelled this, they smelled that, which, law enforcement clearly stated no. Out of 18 dogs, not one of them picked up a scent, and not one of them picked up a scent of a trash can or a front door or a front porch that he supposedly stepped off of barefooted. Well, he said with no shoes on. But Chris said he stepped off that front porch with no shoes on. Chris never said he had a flashlight. Did you notice that? And that was a couple months later. And Chris never said anything about the flashlight. I don't think Chris has ever brought up the flashlight one time. Which is interesting to me. But I think we all know, until law enforcement decides to separate these two and interrogate them, they're not going to get any answers. They're going to be right where they're at right now today, which is a flashlight video that I call Tinkerbell, and a few little tips and a few theories. And I believe that, because if they had something solid, there would have been an arrest. So I'm praying that something's going to shift and change. I'm praying that the right person is going to find the piece of the puzzle to this whole mystery. But I look at it this way. If Seth Rogers, the father, as hard as he's been fighting, can't figure it out, how are we going to figure it out? Because he knows Katie better than anybody else. He knows Katie better than Chris. And so, he's known her since she was 13. He knows everything about this woman. Clearly. So, I don't know, guys. We can't give up. I get that. We can't give up. We just can't. And no matter what, we can't do that. But what we can do is just go back and rehearse everything all over again. And that's what I'm doing now, is trying to type up every word that ever came out of their mouth on any given interview. And then I want to go back and see all the Facebook posts and all those things, which I had screenshotted almost every one of them. So I'm going to go back and look at all those things over again. I'm going to go back and watch a lot of videos in the beginning of this, within the first 10 days of this, and see if there's anything that we missed, right? That's all we can do at this point, because as many people have searched for this child and not found him, I truly now do not believe he's in that Hendersonville area. Do I believe that they know where he is? Yes. Because I think that if you were to eliminate Chris, right, that he was in Memphis, if you were to eliminate him, then it would all be on Katie's hands. That means that everybody needs to be going after Katie. Full force. I mean, a mountain army needs to go after Katie. That's what they need to do. But he inserted himself into this, and he has tried so hard to take all the blunt and leave everything off of Katie, right? We know that. He's done that. And I think that's why we have to look more at her now than ever before. Because I truly believe that I truly believe she knows everything. And I mean, you could just clearly tell it in her face, right? You can. And some of the things she says, she slips so much. And after a year, she shouldn't be slipping. She should have her statement down. Man, like, she should have it down. But I think what they're juggling is trying to remember what they told law enforcement in the beginning. And try to kind of revise that into what they say now. Because I think they made a lot of errors by speaking on a lot of things that they probably shouldn't have said. And it didn't match up with what they had told law enforcement in the beginning. So I'm pretty sure law enforcement has them as suspect 1 and suspect 2 on their board. But they don't. And another thing that I wanted to know is, if you go back and watch that web series, whenever Chris starts jumping on Seth and the PI, he brings up 2 people's names. I think Bobby and Carter or something like that. Y'all let me know who they are, because I want to do a little deep dive. I want to know who these people are. And I want to know what ties. I'm going to go back and look at electional campaigns, any kind of donations that were brought in, and see if somehow they contributed a lot of money, and their family contributed a lot of money, like the Proudfoots and the Bowershots contributed a lot of money to these people's campaigns. That's what I want to see. I'm going to go through and try to do a different way of doing this. So if y'all can come up with those names of who those people are, and if they're in the election part of this kind of political world of this, right, I need to know. Because I really want to utilize some of my really good guys that I have, that I can really ask the favors, that can maybe see if I can pull up some stuff like that. So I really want to work on those kind of things and see, because he really threatened them with those 2 people. Well, let's go sit down with, I think he did say Bobby and Carter or something like that. I need to go back and watch it again, but and she's like, I don't mind sitting down with them. I'm not afraid to sit down with them. That's what the PI said. So I just want to know who these 2 individuals are that he's threatening them with, because this may be who's helping them. And we need to know that. We need to know if they're a big part of this investigation or if they're not. So I don't believe they would be FBI at all. I don't believe they would be Secret Service at all. I believe there's somebody within the Hendersonville thing, and is one of them a neighbor? You know, there's a part-time LE neighbor there. I'm wondering if one of them is him, the one that supposedly Katie was having a relationship behind Chris's back. Which, knowing, you know, she was basically cheating on Seth with Chris, so if she's done it once, she'll do it again. I wouldn't put it past her to have been having an affair. You know, I don't. You know, there might be swingers like everybody's saying. There's a lot of stuff out there on the streets that I don't talk about, because I have no way of proving that. So it's hard to talk about something you can't prove. But I will say, we got to keep up the fight for this young man. And we need to start digging other alleys and other avenues to see if we can try to put something else together that might paint a picture. Because until somebody can paint the picture, I don't believe there'll be an arrest. Unless they magically got something that we just don't feel they got. Which at this point, I'm kind of losing hope in that. I hate to say that because I'm not one to ever lose hope. But I'm saying as far as the arrests go, I don't know. I mean, part of my gut still tells me that the handcuffs are coming. And I know a lot of people are saying things that it's coming. But, you know, they've been saying that. And it's been over a year. So, hopefully, something is coming. But do I think this child will ever be found? Most likely, probably not. I hate to say that. I want him to be found. I want nothing more. That's why I search. I want him to be found. But the way that Chris is, when I start thinking about the things that he said and the anger that he has towards Sebastian for some reason, I think it's all from CPS. Because we know damn good and well, no, CPS went over there and, Sebastian, you can't lie. Hell no, they didn't do that. And he left that home because he took off on the run because he didn't want to face CPS. That's why he left. If he wasn't mandated, he left because he didn't want them to be able to interview him. Hey, you want to interview me? Come all the way over here. Right? That's I think what he tried to do, which is what Don Wells did. That's why I think that they studied the Summer Wells case. Y'all remember that, right? When Don Wells used to take off when CPS was coming down the road, right? He'd be at work. He didn't want to come face them. I think that this was the same thing. And I think they learned a lot from Don and Candace Wells. They might be swinging with them. Who knows? I'm just joking. But anyway, guys, you know, these are just my alleged opinions. But let's see if we can't figure out who these two people are so I can see if they're elected officials in any way. I don't know. I've heard from a lot of the community too as well. Some of the sources that I have there in the neighborhood and things that they're not planning on re-electing any of them people in that sheriff's office if this case isn't solved. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's time to appoint somebody else that might, you know, not show favoritism, right? I'm not saying they do, and I'm not saying they're not working diligency and they're not working around the clock, but if it's just their theories, they need to put them out. Prove them or not prove them, but put them out so we can see what theories they think. To me, that would be another tool for us to work on. So, with that being said, guys, we're getting out of here. It's cold. I can go back to work, but y'all be good. Y'all be safe. We love y'all, guys. And remember, these are my opinions. Trigger warnings always. Justice for Sebastian Wayne, Jake Rogers. Justice for all the missing. All the runaways, they run for a reason. If this boy did run out of that front door and step off that front porch and fly, then that may be why the dogs didn't pick him up. Maybe he does have a Batman cape. I don't know. I really don't know. But I don't think so. But I don't think anybody thinks he walked off that front porch and vanished in thin air. He vanished all right, but I don't think he vanished from that house. I think he vanished from the roadhouse. But then again, maybe one day we'll know, maybe one day we won't. Let's keep the focus though. All right, guys, we love y'all. We'll talk soon. Oh, and by the way, my channel, I messed up something on my channel. It's not showing ads or anything right now. I got to go get that fixed, but I got to wait tomorrow to get a hold of somebody. So y'all can watch today with no ads. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Bye.